Hey, this is Driver88, and if you're watching this, you're probably more than likely aware of the Audi RS Q8 and the Bentley Bentayga and the Lamborghini Urus and also the Porsche Cayenne Turbo GT. What you might not be aware of is that all those cars are sitting on the same MLB EVO platform, and all of them also share the EA825 twin turbocharged V8 engine in different varying forms. And so that being the case, I'm kind of wanting to find out over the next month or so which one of those cars is the best bang for buck, the best to drive and own. And we're going to start with the Cayenne Turbo GT today. It's not that long ago had a facelift, and we're going to compare it to the pre-facelift and also have a look at briefly an Urus S. So we're going to take it for a drive, look at the price and specs, and get this comparison started, because Volkswagen is a huge beast. It has so many different brands, and I want to know which one of these Uber SUVs is the best. Let's go. So what are your thoughts on the looks? Do you prefer the original Turbo GT or the facelift? I'm kind of leaning towards the facelift, even though the face is a little bit Battletoad-esque, if you know that reference. Also, what we're going to do now is have a comparison between the sound of both cars, because I've noticed that with Euro emission standards getting tighter and tighter, a lot of these cars are also getting quieter. We'll also get, hopefully, a sound comparison to the Urus S, which I do believe here at Cavallo Prestige there is another one hanging around. Now, getting in the Turbo GT, we have a full digital 12+ inch dash, and we have Alcantara everywhere across our sports seats and across the dash and the steering wheel. Do you prefer this digital dash or an analog tack in the first GT? I kind of like an analog tack. Just like the Turbo S, they're all about to let go of that very, very cool tack running up the middle of your vision. All the buttons here feel fairly decent quality, I think, compared to most other brands. There's not too many buttons. The screen's very clear. It doesn't reflect too much during the day. And I love a skinny steering wheel. Unlike BMW, we have a nice sporty feel steering wheel. Everything's fully solid. We've got grab handles for when you're going off-road. Wouldn't particularly recommend going off-road in this car. The rest is carbon, and the back seats are quite comfortable with the sort of GT stripes here. So in comparison, this is the original Turbo GT. Stripes as well as touch buttons in your center console, but slightly different. So of course we have our analog tack in front of us, not the full digital screen. And we've got a leather steering wheel instead of Alcantara. I think most people would prefer a leather steering wheel. This, of course, you can have stitched in almost any color you can imagine. The mode select is exactly the same though. So very similar. Which one do you prefer? Let us know. Both of these are available though at Cavallo Prestige. And one more interior comparison, it's the Urus S. This car is 500 grand before on roads and taxes. And a number of these bits are very nice, the carbon, etc. But it does feel a little bit Audi. What isn't Audi about it is how it sounds. And this car, I think it sounds considerably louder than the two Cayenne GTs on startup and revs. Still only goes to 4,000 RPM though. So 22-inch wheels, we have no less than 9 different options of the colors of the wheels. Black on gold, maybe not exactly my spec I'd choose, but it does look pretty badass. Now, of course, the Cayenne GT all come in this sloping rear roofline of the coupe variant. I kind of prefer the straight back, don't know why, I just do. I also like the whited out rear taillights is the thing I like against, especially a black car. You can pick so many different options and exclusive manufacturer on the inside. So the Turbo GT, 420,000 Australian dollars in my very highly taxed state of Victoria. Now, just recently, the configurator seems to have disappeared for this car recently. So I'm getting error 505 on the Porsche website. Maybe given Euro emissions, etc., this car is not long for this world. But let me know, for the money, given that you can extend warranty on Porsches like these all the way out to 15 years, would it be better to maybe purchase one that's slightly used like this one at Cavallo Prestige, or even the original Turbo GT? So when it comes to performance, we have 19 more horsepower than the original Turbo GT. We have one less Newton meter though, if you can hook up perfectly 0 to 100 in 3.1 seconds, which sounds ridiculous. And also if you're on a perfect surface, 11.1 seconds to quarter mile. That is pushing this 2.27 ton car at almost a 10-second strip, which is absolutely incredible. One thing that's a little bit disappointing though is this engine bay, you can practically see absolutely nothing. It's just plastic. Even the Macan GTS that we reviewed last week has a nicer looking engine bay than this. We've also got 850 Newton meters at just 2,300 RPM. So all of that power is available pretty much all the time when you're rolling. And to add to that, the top speed hits over 300 kilometers per hour. And if you're interested, which you probably won't be interested if you're looking at buying one of these, the average fuel consumption is 12.5 liters per 100, but we did not get anywhere near that driving today. Not only, of course, is it fast in a straight line, it does have the SUV record of 7 minutes 38 on the Nürburgring, and that was the pre-facelift car though. The only data I could find on this car, the very latest Turbo GT, was at the Zhejiang circuit, in which case it beat the AMG GT63, it beat a Carrera S, and it beat a Mark II Audi R8, which is incredibly impressive for a large car. Personally, I really like the rear of the look of the car, and we've got, as you'd expect, a fairly decent amount of storage. You can have 3 across the back or 2 separate seats, plenty of space. What you can't do though is tow anything. If you're looking to tow anything with this car, I would merely save a couple $100,000 roughly and get a V8 new Cayenne S, which we will be reviewing very soon on the channel. That has a 3.5 ton towing capacity. This, we don't have anything to tow. Now, starting up, I really do wish we still had a turnkey. I'm not a big fan of these buttons. Just letting you know that you have 2 turbos and a 4-litre V8 under your right foot. If only we could rev above 4,000. Come on, Porsche, let us go to at least 6, where the top power of 650 horsepower comes in at. Now, if you are interested, can you daily the Turbo GT? Absolutely, regardless of the fact that we have so much power and a decent amount of track focus, you could daily it very easily. Very easy to get in and out of, and in your normal modes, the suspension is very forgiving, at least from my experience. When you want things to change, however, of course you've got your drive select wheel on the steering wheel, which is where I like it to be, and also it's a physical wheel, not a touchscreen button, which is truly annoying in some other cars. When you change everything into Sport Plus mode, the valves open up and we get all the response that you could ever need for such a large car. The gearboxes these days somehow handle all of the 849 Newton meters of torque with ease, and the shifts are not only quite quick, but they're relatively satisfying compared to some of the other ZF based 8-speed autos that I've driven in the past. I can honestly see this car running to the top speed of 305 kilometers per hour quite easily. For a large car, the turning is really, really decent. It's not super loud, like it's certainly not as loud as the old NA V8 Cayennes of old, but it's still a pretty inspiring sound. I have a feeling that the original Turbo GT will sound significantly louder though. Now when it comes to sportier driving, I mean, truly bonkers performance. The turn-in I've never felt in a car of this size before. I used to own a Stelvio QV, and that's a fair bit smaller than this, but it's one of the only SUVs I felt like could properly rotate and feel like it was rear-wheel bias. I can't show you, but just by putting in a little bit of extra lock at a roundabout, the rear just came alive and is happy to spit out at any time that you want. And you could power slide this car so easily, especially when you've got cold tires. Now, is this amount of power and performance in an SUV rather redundant? Yes, it is. But, you know, it's one of those cars where it's to enjoy. It's just to enjoy a car that has so much to offer that you can also put lots of stuff in, as well as your kids in the back, as well as getting groceries. It certainly has more character than I thought it would. In the next week or so, I'm very keen to compare it to the Urus S. So as I said at the start of this video, the EA825 and the MLB EVO platform all have the Bentayga, this Turbo GT, the Urus, the Touareg, RSQ8, etc. Which one would I choose out of all of those? I think it's got to be this one, particularly in a slightly used form when you can save a lot of money, you can extend your warranty out. Take one for a drive and let me know which one you would choose out of all those cars. Otherwise, this is Driver 88. I'll see you next time.